Today we're going to be looking at the major biosystems of our ecosystems of the biosphere and talking about the biomes. And we start out by looking at climate because climate, this is the weather in an area. And it's determined mainly by temperature and precipitation. And other influences would be the latitude, the tilt of the Earth's axis, and of course topography. Also, solar radiation is important because we need to remember that at the equator they get direct solar radiation, but the Earth tilts on its axis, so one pole is going to be closer to the sun sometimes than the other pole is, and this is what causes our seasons. And of course that rotation of the Earth, that will affect precipitation as well as winds. And here you can see on the left side the seasonal changes. You can see up at if we start at the top with the vernal equinox, we can see that the sun of course is aimed directly at the equator, but this would be in March of the year, and you can see that the northern hemisphere is tilted away more and the southern hemisphere is more to the sun. And then if we go down here to the summer months, in June you can see how the northern hemisphere is tilted more to the sun, but the southern hemisphere is away. And if we move to the autumnal or autumn equinox, we can, in September, you can see that the tilting is changing a little bit so that the northern hemisphere is not pointed directly at the sun anymore. It's beginning to tilt away from it. And here when we get to the winter in December, you can see how the southern hemisphere is more directed towards the sun. Also, wind is going to affect weather, and it's important to remember that our wind rotates, and as the Earth rotates on its axis, the air ascends and descends, and above the equator it's going to rotate clockwise, and then below the equator in the southern hemisphere it rotates counterclockwise. Another thing that's important is topography, the features of the land, the physical features. So if we look at a mountain range, you've got a windward side of the mountain where the winds rise, and this area is going to receive more rainfall. The leeward side, you're going to have less water. It rarely rains because you've got a rain shadow that is going to be created. So here is the windward side that's going to receive more rainfall and less over here on the leeward side because of the rain shadow that's created. So moving on to look at our biomes, we define a biome as a terrestrial ecosystem that's got the same climate and geography, and you're going to have a particular mix of plants and animals that can live under those conditions. They have adaptations that help them survive there. Although climate is the overriding influence here instead of just the geography, it's not a balanced 50-50. You'll have this biome repeat whenever temperature and precipitation are the same, and you'll see animals that will migrate and move from one biome to the other, but there are characteristic types of animals that can live in a biome. Now this here shows you a graph at the top. You've got temperature here on the y-axis and precipitation on the x-axis, and you can see that temperature and precipitation are the main factors in determining the biomes. Down at the bottom, this map is showing you, and you've got a little key over here or legend on the side that the colors coordinate with different biomes, and you can pretty much see you've got blue, light blue up here, a darker blue, and then in this down here you're going to see greens and purples, and those represent different biomes. Here You see altitude increasing on the y-axis and latitude on the x-axis. And you can see we got ice up here. If you get higher altitude, it gets colder. And so you're going to move down from that ice into the tundra and the coniferous forest. And then when you get down here where the altitude is less, then you're going to start seeing the deciduous forest and the tropical rainforest, but paying attention to latitude as well. High latitude, you're going to have the ice again, and the coniferous forest and the deciduous forest, with the tropical rainforest being here in a median range for both latitude and altitude. Now, this is a good place to stop so that the videos won't be too long, so we'll pick up with the next video.